you might not like this. People might not like this. But, to borrow the word from Dr. Peterson, the single thing that helped me be more true to my purpose and to myself and recognize when I'm make mistakes or whatever, to borrow his words, speak the truth, or at least don't lie. And that's a very identity crushing exercise to do. When I first started to pay attention to what to my words, and I don't mean pay attention to your words as in don't say this word, don't say the word try, don't say the word just.
Yes.
I don't agree with that paradigm. It is moronic at best. Yes, words have power, but eliminating words out of your vocabulary, it is not the way you regain that power back. So what do I mean by start paying attention to your words? It is what you say, it is what you think, true. Do you actually believe that? Do you actually, what you're saying is truth? And when I start paying attention, I realized that 95%, if not more, of the things that I would say was a straight out lie, completely, because it was part of who I thought I needed to be. It was part of who I thought I wanted to be. It was a part of who I learned to be because of my circumstances, my life experience, my fears. And I had this identity that pretty quickly gets crushed every single year. And once I start paying attention to my words and the thing I say and the thing I think, and start asking, do I believe this? Is this true? I realized that 95% of what I would say was a straight out lie. And I had to own that. And that takes a lot takes a lot to recognize that. And it's an identity crushing exercise.
Welcome to the Holomovement Awaken Your Purpose Podcast, where we interview incredible people that are living and breathing their purpose, and you can too. If you would like to support this programming, drop us a like or leave us a review. Now let's dive in.
Hello, I'm Sharon Clark, a Holomovement and LightNet Purpose Lab collaborator, and my purpose is to help cancer experiencers remember who they are beyond their diagnosis so that they can move forward with clarity, strength, and the belief in their own power to shape their future. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Adham Chalabi. He's a philosophy nerd turned life coach. He spent years in kitchens, and now he helps other people sort out their minds instead of their menus. Adham is a master coach, a researcher, and a thought leader dedicated to uncovering the deeper structures of the human psyche and guiding people to their hearts ablaze and pushing past their limits. Adham says he's certified in lots, allergic to fluff, and powered by humor. I love that. Welcome, Adham, and how are you today?
Thank you, Sharon. I'm doing good, actually. Quite excited, quite nervous. Sometimes we don't know the difference between those two. So I'm quite happy, that's for sure.
Excellent, excellent. And you would know the distinction between those two because this is part of your studies and what you're learning. So, but let's talk about your purpose. What did you discover so far? What have you discovered your purpose to be?
Well, I've discovered my purpose when I realized that your purpose is the ultimate expression of who you are authentically. And for me, I know that I'm the most of who I am when I'm exploring and creating. So that's underlying that's the silver thread beneath everything that I do. I either create or explore. That is why I coach, what I write, what I study, what I research, what I do, whatever I do. Like when I'm in a coaching session, I don't know how it's going to unfold. And it's kind of a mystery. That is an adventure. That is me exploring people and clients, what's going on with their life and help them figure that out and make sense of it. That is what I'm doing as well when I'm studying. I'm exploring new ideas. And when I write down, either because I'm doing an essay or I'm working on a thesis or whatever, I'm creating something new, something that hasn't been done before, something that nobody has put in words before. And everything that I do, I find that the silver thread is that exploring and creating for me. And I do believe that is where I'm most authentically me.
So you're a modern day explorer.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, modern day explorer. And I think that is what makes purpose a bit difficult. That it is by definition an expression of who you are authentically.
Right.
And well, who can say they know who they are authentically? Like anybody could say, oh, I know this is who I am at any given moment. Well, I can guarantee you they don't. It might be just a mask. Who I am, what I like, what I value today might not be the same thing what I value tomorrow, or the 10 years from now, and etc. Like I used to value a lot and like so much coaching 6 years ago when I started, but now I'm like more teaching that rather than doing the actual coaching. It's like I've evolved in my journey. And people
would you?
like to.
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
No,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Would you say that your purpose changes over life, like as you progress through life and you accomplish what you feel your purpose is in this moment? In 5 years from now, your purpose might be different. Like you say, the same golden thread, however, the purpose has changed a little bit.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I would say you change with the time. Like who you are at 10 years, at 15-year-old is not the same who you're going to be at 30 or at 50
Right.
or at 60. So I wouldn't say necessarily that the purpose is what changes more than you is the one who's changing. And Jung had this concept called circular ambulation, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on the word, but circular deambulation, which is throughout your life, since you're born till the day you die, you always are drawn, you always are pushed towards something naturally at every single time. At 10 years old, at 20 years old, at 30 years old, and that thing, that pull changes, but the common narrative is the same. Like you are, purpose is not something, it's neither you discover it nor it's a prescriptive, it's both. It's both.
Okay.
It's literally it's both. It's a paradox between you are naturally pulled always towards something, and you create that something at the same time. And Jung put that very well in the circular deambulation argument, that every time you are being pulled by interest, by drive, by personalities, by parts, and those pulls will show you. It's called a deambulation, a circular deambulation, because it always pulls you to the same place. It always takes you to the same place. It doesn't matter if you're at 10, 20, 30, 40, it always takes you to the same place. So I wouldn't necessarily say purpose changes, because it always takes you to the same place more than you're the one changes. And the expression through which you express your purpose, who you are authentically, is what changes.
The expression of your purpose changes, not your underlying purpose.
Yeah.
Awesome. So would you say maybe your passion in life isn't indicative of what your purpose is? Do you follow your passion? Like you say, you're an explorer. No.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's great. Enlighten us on that.
Well, there's this whole movement in follow your bliss. In yeah, sure, you can find your purpose by following your bliss. However, you will find your purpose is in the place that you are avoiding, in the places where you don't want to look at, the places that don't feel comfortable, the places that you are, your spirit, your soul is pulling you towards that, but for some reason, your persona, your mask, your fears just says, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. And I just feel blessed following these other paths and the shiny object. And it's like, you got to distinguish very well if it's something is really a purpose or just a shiny object less path. And I don't particularly agree with the follow your bliss, although I know it's a way of how people will find their, like I just spoke 5 seconds ago, like we have this natural drive, pulls and push throughout our life that will take us always to the same place, those interests, those enthusiasm. And by following those type of bliss, you do find your purpose. But not everything that feels good or feel passionate about will take you to your purpose, because that will mean that you know who you are, to know that every single passion, every single drive, every single bliss that you feel, every positive emotion is going to take you to that purpose. And it's very hard to say, okay, I got myself figured out, nailed down completely, authentically. So every single passion and bliss I follow is going to be my purpose. And it's a really, really, really hard to distinguish that. Not impossible, but this is why when we distill the process of the previous 100 interviews we did on these amazing people, individuals who have followed their purpose, and the common pattern that we found is that the beginning, the first step in the pattern is the disruption, the break of the old self. because who you think you are is it's not really who you are. It's who you think you should be. It's who you think you feel you have to be or to do to get what you want. Is who you are feel safe to be, and it's very hard to say that's you. And it's not until something happens, a burnout, a disillusionment, a breakup, or a breakthrough, something that breaks that old self. It's not until that moment that you're able to see a bit more of who you are underneath that persona, that mask, that person that you learned to be. And that's
Something
what
that
that's
forces you to choose a new life, a new path, and really evaluate who you are and where you are in life.
really to evaluate. And that is where the challenge. That's where the challenge happens, because everybody had this disruption. Everybody had
Yes.
burnout, disillusionment, breakups. Everybody, but not everybody find their purpose, do they?
No.
What's the difference? Well, what happens when somebody's in disruption, distress? They usually do two things. They numb the pain, they just numb it, avoid it, or they just try to fix it. They try to fix it quickly. None of them works. If you try to numb it, well, the pain, you learn nothing from the pain. You learn nothing from the disruption. You learn nothing from the crack of the old self. So you wasted the pain, and you are bound to repeat that again. And if you try to fix it quickly, which is what people try to do, which we are in the era of how to fix things quickly, how to fix, how to coach, how to fix, and we go to Google and
instantly, quick,
yes.
now. We don't have time. We don't have time to work on this.
Yeah.
We just need an easy answer, and we need it now.
Yes, and we want to step out of that uncomfortableness. What happens with that is you just end up rebuilding the old self where you feel comfortable and safe at, and you didn't do the thing that will teach you a bit more of who you are. And that's the second step, deep listening. Sitting with that disruption, sitting and listen what is at the other side of the crack of that old self. And instead of rushing to quickly fix or quickly heal or quickly get over something or just completely ignore it and avoid it. It's when you sit down with it and you deeply listen to what's there at the other side of the crack of that old self. And it's a process that happens iterative, like over time. Like your old self breaks and you learn something about it and you learn a bit more about who you are, and then you go on with life. Again, it breaks. You learn a bit more of who you are, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. Yes. And this is the process of learning who you are at each step and stages of your life.
So seeing challenges as opportunities rather than disruptions is beneficial to finding out who you are and what your purpose is.
Yes, it's completely. And it's like there's a difference between a person that gets in one of those disruptions and a type of victim mentality or the effect mentality, which is, oh my God, why is this happening to me? It's not fair, versus being through the same disruption, but I know there's something for me to learn here.
Yes.
There's something, there's a reason and purpose on this disruption, burnout, breakup, whatever. And it's hard.
So what have you learned from those around you when you began aligning yourself to your current direction? How did your relationships change, and what have you learned from those changes?
How have my relationship changed with people going through the process of finding my purpose?
Yes.
I, particularly myself, in the beginning, I find it hard to relate to people. And the reason to that is like, I didn't want to relate people in a shallow way. So in the beginning, I end up ostracizing myself from my surroundings. And then I realized, maybe I don't like to be in these groups. Maybe I do like to be more in these other groups. But whenever I decide to be with my friends, my family, and the people I enjoy spending time with, and not spend time with them because I feel that I need to be with them because of my old identity, feels comfortable here, is I realize that my conversation with them will be more authentic, will be more truthful. I will be also more open to feedback. They will tell me, hey, and I realize I enjoy more being with people who would tell me, hey, Adham, you're not listening. Or, hey, Adham, I think you're not doing this right. Hey, it will give me the true, honest feedback. And the more I was more comfortable going through those disruptions, the more comfortable I was about being around more authentic people. And that was a symbiotic relationship that they will help me be more authentic about who I am, and I will help them be more authentic about who they are. And that's how we outsource a lot of
Yes.
our problems and our because finding your purpose is a problem, we outsource a lot of our challenges to our community, and this is the purpose of communities and social psychology. uh, People give themselves signals, people give themselves like sanity signals as well, that hey, you are in a good group, not in a good group, these are socially good behaviors, these are not socially good behaviors, and those are signals. And the authenticity of those signals is important, because you can be, again, on a environment that people don't tell you the truth just because they want to
Mm-hmm.
be nice, an environment where people say, hey, I know this is uncomfortable, and I'm not just going to say this to criticize you, but rather because I love you, and I'm going to tell you this with grace. And I do
Yes.
believe that's the main change in my surroundings, and the while I've been going through this process.
So you welcome the constructive criticism, for lack of a better term, the feedback, as opposed to shying away from it. Because there's a lot of people who, if you sit down with them and say, "I've noticed this," and this is some feedback for you, then they go within and they shy away. So it's wonderful that you're turning this into, this is growth. And this feedback that I'm receiving helps me grow and change and be a better person and be better at who I am, what I'm doing, and the pursuit of my life's purpose.
Yeah,
That's beautiful. So I
it's
guess, no, go
it's
ahead.
hard to it's hard to be authentic and pursue your purpose if you don't have the right surroundings. And like recently, I had a conversation with my CEO, and I said, "Hey, I need your feedback. Like, I know I haven't been at the top of my game. I know that I've been places I underperform in my work. I need your raw, honest feedback about things." So I do welcome this type of conversation where people will reflect to me how they experience me, because
Right.
again, I cannot know every time I'm authentic or inauthentic. That'll be too pompous of me to say, hey, I know when I'm authentic. I don't. And we outsource that. We need to outsource that and
Yes.
surround ourselves with other authentic people and say, hey, how do you experience me as a friend, as a colleague, as a leader, as a coach? Like, I only work with people who have the balls to tell me, hey, you're not listening, or you think you're messing this. And it has happened before.
Really? You've fired people
Yeah.
from coaching because they're
Oh, yeah. One
they're
time.
inauthentic? Really?
Only one time.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough to have people that every people that I have as my clients will do the side of, hey, you're not listening.
Okay. Interesting. That is interesting. So I guess in your life, encouragement is basically the same as skepticism, right? So if someone is
Yes.
encouraging you to
Hmm.
okay, you can do this and you're going to be great, it's the same as getting that feedback and that little bit of skepticism and saying, "Hey, wait a
Hmm.
minute. What about this? Maybe you should explore that." So to you put them on a parallel.
Hmm. A horizontal relationship, yeah.
Hmm.
And you said something important: skepticism. People shy away from the word. Like, you will not find a more skeptic person than I am. Like, I'm highly skeptical, and people shy away from, "Ooh, why are you skeptical? You gotta be more open minded." No, no, no. Skepticism is a destructive force, and a destructive force that does build something. What do I mean? Like the marble, like Michelangelo, I believe was it. I could be mistaken. Could be Michelangelo. That said, the sculpture, the statue is already in the marble. I'm just taking away everything that's not the sculpture. And that process of destruction, of taking away of, not this, not this, that's skepticism. And that is
Okay.
important to learn to be more authentic, because if you do believe everything, if you're so-called open-minded, like, I'm not saying that I'm not against open-minded. It's not what people think it means. But if you believe everything, you don't believe nothing. Like,
Right.
I don't believe in the follow your blessed path. People do, and I do respect them, but that is not my approach. And I will authentically say, hey, I don't agree with because of these X, Y, and Z. And sure, could I be here and say, oh yeah, let's follow your blessed, and pretend I'm this highly energetic person that love blessed and not. I could pretend. I'm not. I won't.
Yeah. And
Uh,
that's part of your appeal, is that you're very authentic, and and I think that people really appreciate that about you. Um, so with your authenticity and your outlook on life, what's been the biggest challenge for you, Adham, in living your purpose?
the biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I always get catch up on the hot seat when people use, say, biggest or single one or most important. And like, wow, the biggest
It's
one,
the one that stands out.
the biggest one, I would say, I honestly rather just lay in my couch, watch Netflix all day long than doing the difficult thing that is to follow your purpose, honestly. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
most the biggest challenge in my life is to get myself on board and get out of my own way to say, hey, this is meaningful enough, and I choose to do this responsibility to live my purpose instead of living a life that's just all day Netflix and whatever. It's like, yeah, it's hard to go through my day and do the meaningful work, the 20% of the thing that will drive the 80% of the result. Yes, it is hard. Uh,
Yes.
so I think getting out of my own way is the biggest challenge in following my purpose.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense. I can fully appreciate that, because people don't understand that when you're an entrepreneur and you're living your purpose, you're putting in 20 hours a day. You're not putting in
Mm-hmm.
8 or 9 and then going home and sitting on the couch. You're putting in 20 hours, and through those 20 hours, you have to be present and thoughtful and mindful,
Mm-hmm.
because you're shaping not only your future, but those you're coaching as
Mm-hmm.
well. You're helping shape their future. So you have to be very, very mindful at almost all hours of the day. So it can be mentally exhausting.
And
And
there's the
yeah.
aspect of your personality. It's like, if you want to get a starting point, if you will, of who you are,
Mhm.
start taking a look at your personality. And I really go deep into the research and literature and personality. And honestly, my personality is not the type of personality that is the high motivational entrepreneur that does massive action. My personality is very difficult to keep taking consistent action and being
Okay.
organized, and it's very difficult for my type of personality. But do I let my personality take control of who I am? No, I'm just gonna take an honest look of where am I at, like what am my I don't know how to say this, like my little sense, my proclivity to procrastinate. Where do I struggle the most in my own life to take action on? And I'm gonna look at them honestly. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
sugarcoat it. No, no, I'm not that bad. No, I really struggle keeping focused and organized. So then what do? Put system to keep me focused and keeps me organized. Like we work together. You see that I keep everything like
Yes.
focused, organized, systems, frameworks. Otherwise, I know that my personality is gonna take the better of me, and those are
Yes.
part of understanding your nature, your what do you do
Your
if you're not
limitations.
consciously, your limitations.
Hmm.
If you're not consciously
Hmm.
aware, what do you tend to do unconsciously? And if
Yeah.
you don't take measure to grow that, you will end up falling to the level of your personality instead of rising to the level of the situation.
To the level of your success that you would like to have. That's interesting, falling to the level of your personality. I've never heard that term before. I really like that. That
I,
is
I,
really,
I
really
think
interesting.
the army has something, and that says you don't rise to the level of the situation, you fall to the level of your training or something like that. I do believe it was the army. I could be mistaken,
Okay.
but somewhere
Okay.
around those lines.
Interesting. Hmm. Um, wow. So you've got a lot of thoughts, and you've done a lot of research, and you have, put a lot of work and effort and energy into, finding out not only how you work, but how others work internally, biologically, psychologically, emotionally. What advice do you have for those who haven't found their purpose, but they're looking for it? And now that you've done your human research study, what advice do you have on for other humans so that they can find their purpose in life?
You might not like this. You might not like this, but
Well, it's not about what I like or don't
to
like. You know that.
to borrow the word from Dr. Peterson, the single thing that helped me be more true to my purpose and to myself and recognize when I'm make mistakes or whatever, to borrow his words, speak the truth, or at least don't lie. And that's a very identity crushing exercise to do. When I first started to pay attention to to my words, and I don't mean pay attention to your words as in don't say this word, don't say the word try, don't say the word just.
Yes.
I don't agree with that paradigm. It is moronic at best. Yes, words have power, but
They do.
eliminating words out of your vocabulary, it is not the way you regain that power back. So what do I mean by start paying attention to your words? It is what you say, it is what you think, true. Do you actually believe that? Do you actually, what you're saying is truth? And when I start paying attention, I realized that 95%, if not more, of the things that I would say was a straight out lie, completely, because it was part of who I thought I needed to be. It was part of who I thought I wanted to be. It was a part of who I learned to be because of my circumstances, my life experience, my fears. And I had this identity that pretty quickly gets crushed every single year. And once I start paying attention to my words and the thing I say and the thing I think, and start asking, do I believe this? Is this true? I realized that 95% of what I would say was a straight out lie. And I had to own that. And that takes a lot takes a lot to recognize that. And it's an identity crushing exercise. Now, when I say lie, I'm not saying that you go out there to the world to maliciously lie to people about who you are or what you do. I'm not thinking about that, although to some people it is. I'm saying that when you know you have to say something and you don't, you're acting out a lie. When you know you need to do something, you have to do something, and you don't do it, you're acting out a lie. You're lying to yourself. Okay. When you're avoiding, when you're hiding, when you run your self-hypnotic limitation, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, you're lying to yourself.
Okay.
And why is this formulated this way? Because pay attention that the sentence is speak the truth or at least don't lie. It's because, yes. Okay, again, who do you think you are to know that you know the truth? Like, the truth is a very complicated matter. But every person in the world knows how it feels in their body when they're avoiding something or when they're lying about something. They know how it feels in their body. It feels heavy, or it might feel icky, it might feel like yucky, it might feel like
just uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Everybody, if you pay attention to everything you say, you will have a body reaction. Do you actually believe this to be true? Or it's just a thing you're saying because you learn to say this?
Right.
So that is, pardon me, that is the thing that if you really want to go to the process of disruption rather quickly, do that exercise. Pay attention to what you say. Ask yourself, do I believe this? And
through that process of authenticity and self-reflection, then you think people will find their purpose. That's
absolutely, like any exercise that makes you more honest, makes you more authentic, makes you more truthful. Any practice, exercise that aims at that is bound to help you find your purpose, because your purpose is expressive of who you are. I don't care how you express it.
And that's one thing I can agree with for sure, because I've noticed that I've become recently in the last year really embracing my authenticity and stepping into it slowly. Because I mean, it takes baby steps. You can't just wake up one day and go, okay, well, most people don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to be this whole other person. It's a gradual change. And as I become more and more authentic in my life, people relate to me differently. Doors are opening, things are happening. And it's because I'm not being who, as you say, who I think I should be. I'm being who I truly am inside. And it's a beautifully amazing, freeing gift to live your authentic life.
For yourself and others, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. What do you think it would be like, the world would be like, Adham, if the majority of people lived their purpose?
By definition, exponentially and unknowably way better. And I say unknowably because, if that's even a word, I don't know, because you have no idea how much better your life becomes when you are more truthful to yourself and others. Yeah, like you say, doors opens, people give you opportunity, money comes in, things just, you have no idea how much better it gets when you become more authentic, more
and
truthful.
then and then you think, wow, life is so good, how can it get any better than this? And then the next opportunity presents
Yes.
itself and you go up the next level, and then you start living in that area, and then wow, something else happens, another door opens. So it is like you say, we can't know what the world would be like if everyone started living their purpose and
Yeah.
being true and authentic, because it keeps getting better and better, and things that we couldn't even have dreamed of are happening,
Yes.
which is an amazing place to be.
Yes. Exponentially and unknowably way better than today's. Like,
Yeah.
just do it, just do the exercise and see how much better your own life becomes as you embrace truth, as you lie less, and you'll see how much better your life becomes. And if everybody does that, oh boy, the
Wow.
effect of that, to the world is unfathomable.
But the one caveat I will add is, when you're speaking your truth, be kind. Be kind to others. Like,
Yes. Oh,
yeah, moderate it with kindness.
yes. That it's like, yes, truth has its shadow, and
Hmm.
be careful with it. Be gentle. Be like, you said it best. Because I mean, again, who am I to know I know the truth? For me to tell others and criticize the world, or criticize me even, it's a very unnoble and an adventurous thing to do. Like, there is no bigger adventure than that of speaking the truth, speaking out, because you don't know if you're right. That's the thing. By definition, you don't know if you're right until you speak it. You don't know, like, if things are going to turn good or make it even worse. But as a rule of thumb, anything that happens as a consequence of speaking out the truth is the best thing that can happen.
And what's truth necessarily for me or for us is not entirely truth for someone else, because everyone sees the world through their own perspective based on their own experiences. So they see it through their own lens. So their truth may not resonate with ours, but that doesn't mean they're wrong and we're right, or vice versa. It just means that based on our lived experiences and the work that we've done, internal work, emotionally, psychologically, it just, sometimes we just don't resonate with others, and that's okay. We're just on a different
Yes.
lens. So when you speak your truth, it's a truth. It's your truth is that you're speaking, not necessarily the truth for everyone in the room.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. What other words of wisdom do you have for us, Adham, as we close out the show? We've got a couple of minutes left. What else would you like to share? Is there anything you're working on, or anything you want people to know?
Well, another pattern that I find useful besides speaking the truth is taking responsibility,
Yes.
taking maximal responsibility for your life, and that is where you find meaning in your life. And meaning and purpose are quite different, actually. And purpose is the same, if you will. Meaning is the feeling, the fuel that push you through. And by definition, if you choose something that's truthful and authentic to you and you take responsibility of that, you will be fueled with the meaning to push through, push forward to the difficulties, the challenges, the obstacles that following your purpose and will represent in your life. Now, funny enough, in this side of the world, the word responsibility has a very, very bad connotation sometimes. I mean, if you have to take responsibility of something, usually means you're at fault of that. And that is the mindset in this side of the world. And I want to say it's an accurate mindset, an accurate definition. On the other side, like, I believe, don't quote me, it is like in the Asian side of the world, China, Japan, could be mistaken on the exact location, but their mindset of responsibility is way different. Something cannot be your fault, and you still are responsible for it. What's an example of that? Well, number one, you are responsible for your own life, and it's not your fault you're here. It's not your fault the circumstances you were born, or maybe they are. I don't know. Depends on each person. Or if somebody drops a newborn baby into your depth store, of course that's not your fault, but you still are responsible now to respond and what to do about that, how to act on that. Even if you want to ignore the newborn, if you want to ignore the calling, because everybody has this calling, and like the Hobbit guy, Bilbo, is his name Bilbo? The dwarf of the Bilbo, I believe it was Bilbo. When Gandalf comes and he has the mythological representation of the call to action, the call to adventure, and call Bilbo, I believe his name could be mistaken, to the adventure of his lifetime. What does Bilbo do? He rejects it. He says, "Oh no, I'm too little me. I can't do that." He rejects it, and this is what happens when we get the call to adventure in our life, the call to our adventure, our purpose, and we end up rejecting it. We end up saying no to, because it will require to become more than who we are, and that's difficult. It will require the destruction of the old marble, whatever is not there, and it's not a wonder to me why most people at the end of their life regret not doing the thing they've done, because honestly it's not a bliss. It's not a blissful. Let me do what I feel blessed. It's difficult. It's hard, and sometimes it's even painful.
Yes,
but there is a bliss in a privilege of following that, and taking responsibility for that. Saying yes, I take responsibility. I choose this in my life, and that gives you maximum meaning to keep moving forward. And just like speaking the truth, it has its shadow. That you can take too much responsibility, although that's a very more rare problem than not taking responsibilities at all. But the second thing,
Adham, you're muted. You were saying the second thing is, there we go.
Hello.
Second thing.
Can you hear me? Good thing I have a sparing microphone. The second thing is, it is very more common in the self-help industry and the coaching industry, where people want to make you take responsibility where you have no responsibility. That's another shadow of the responsibility, the only dangers of it. One, you can take too much, which is a very more rare problem than not taking it all. Second, people and I've seen it, I'm saying it or experience, where people try to make you take responsibility where you don't have responsibility. And it takes in many different shapes. So too much of anything, even if it's true, the responsibility can be dangerous. So pay attention to it and find that right balance, that paradoxical right balance between good and evil, between right and wrong, between yin and yang, between chaos and order. And you need them both.
Yes, absolutely. Out of chaos comes order.
And out of and you need order. You need the chaos to put it in order so something new is born. That is the process of giving birth. But too much order becomes tyrannical. We see this in communist country when we study communist in ideologies or whatever. And that order, that tyrannical order, needs a bit of chaos to break it loose and become smoother, so something new can born of it. So both chaos is the order and both order is the chaos, yin and yang.
Yes, because if you are too structured and too ordered in your daily life, then you become rigid, and you close down your openness, and you put up the walls, and you stop letting new ideas, new experiences, and then you're right back into saying no to your purpose, right? So yeah, you're right. They're mutually complementary, chaos and order.
Yes.
Mutually beneficial.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Adham, for joining us today. We really appreciated having you here. And we wish you well in all your endeavors. And we look forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Have a good one.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for joining us today. It is our goal to give you the courage to begin to identify your passion and live your purpose for the sake of yourself and for the sake of us all. Over the course of this multi-year collaboration and research project, we have identified patterns and a 7-stage process that many people go through on their way to living their purpose. If you'd like to browse our archive or figure out what stage you're in, head over to holomovement.net/purpose. If you would like to browse our living library of resources, or if you found your purpose and want to contribute what worked for you, head over to lightnet.org/purpose. And as Mark Twain used to say, the most important day of your life is the day you're born and the day you figure out why. You're not alone. We will look forward to helping you on this incredible journey. This has been a collaboration between Holomovement, LightNet, and incredible people like yourself. Special thanks to Good of the Whole. We'll see you next time.